This is Ranger Kidwell Ross, editor of WorldSweeper.com. I'm in the Victory Sweepers booth, a division of Roots, and I will be speaking with Mark Schwarze about one of the new sweepers that is at the show, and this is their HD. It's the first single-engine parking area sweeper to be out there for a very long time. So if, well, there he is now. Mr. Mark Schwarze is the marketing director for Victory Sweepers, and talk to us about this this HD. This is a pretty big thing.
Well, let's get this started out straight. This is my first ever video walk around in all my years of doing this. So if I say duh or anything too long, I apologize up front. So you want to buy one of these. This is a hydraulic drive unit that's different than the hydraulic drives that are out. Some major items, and we can look at the board or we can look at the sweeper.
Let's look at the sweeper. We've looked at the board.
Come on. If you'll notice, there is a belt up here, a clutch, a drive shaft, and a pump.
All right.
The pump is pretty much what everybody uses for single-engine sweepers, but the difference is we clutch it. So there's no more driving down the road with your fan spinning. There's no more driving into a location and dust going everywhere because there's no spinning on the fan. The clutch is a very heavy-duty clutch. It has a 12 groove instead of an 8 groove on the competitor's model, so we give you 50% more belt. Of course, two U-joints, and then of course heavy-duty brackets on both ends, all aluminum, so that the engine and the clutch and the pump all move together. Okay. Before everybody.
So as this shaft moves, the clutch moves and the pump goes around like this, right?
No. Nice try. But the old way was you put it on the belly and tied it to the truck frame.
Right.
And then the engine would move with torque. And when it would torque, it'd wear your belts out. So this is better, I hope.
Yeah. All right.
We are no sophistication in the back here from a standpoint of how we drive our fan. We drive our fan with belts.
Okay.
Belts, although old, not that they're new actually, but they're old design, they work.
Yeah.
And we have had good luck with them, and they give you a warning before they die, unlike plastic couplings that are on some of the competitors' units. From here back, you're getting basically one of our GX sweepers.
The GX, okay.
Yeah, gas unit, which means it has a 28-inch fan.
All right.
28-inch fan, you can put a single broom on it. We'll build this to where you can buy it on a 14,500 GVW truck, just like this.
All right.
And option it up any way you want to option it.
For examples of options.
Toolboxes. It says the toolboxes. Of course, curb room is on either model.
All right.
But we're going to build one on a 12,000 GVW. That's a base unit, so it gets trays in the back. You can't really option it up because of the GVW. But what that gives you is a $69,900 price on the 12,000 GVW and a $74,900 price on one that's optioned up, including the toolboxes. So I think those are good starting points. The other big feature on this one, the sweeper's been around forever.
Yeah.
The other big feature is the controls. We have to go to the board over here. You can take a peek in there if you want, but this is the best description. That is CAN bus. That controls the pump and the pump speed on off. Because it's clutched, we don't have any over revving issues, because when it gets above a certain RPM, it'll shut out for 5 seconds. If it's over that RPM for 5 seconds, it'll shut off.
All right.
But notice, instead of the other brand that has a keyboard, so when you wear a keyboard out, you got to replace everything. We separate, go back to switches.
All right.
So that the curb room switch that you use a lot and the dump switch that you use a lot that wear out, you replace the switch and not the whole controller.
And tell people that might not know what CAN bus even means, and why is it different? What's better about CAN bus? That's what we really need to know.
Well, CAN bus, you're going to get me on one here. I don't know the answer. The answer to that basically is that You can use it to turn on and off functions by the wire that ignites. It says I got to turn this on or turn it off. You don't have to run the power to the switch back to the function.
Exactly, and that's essentially my understanding of it. Also, is that
but it gives you a smart switch too. So, for example, on the old Mark IIs, the joystick was CAN bus. So I could punch a button, and these functions on the joystick meant something totally different than if I did punch a button because it was smart. You could pick that. Very costly if not applied properly, and we had some issues with not the joystick but with the CAN bus on the old Mark II. So simple is what we're trying to go after here.
Okay. And what about we've got a light bar up here on the top? That's
all normal options. There's nothing fancy or different on here except the pump, the drive, and the controls. That's why we're featuring that here. We give you a huge console. Some people like the little console. We can shrink it down if you want, but we decided to put a big one in there with an armrest. But we can get as small as you want to get. I think the biggest innovation is the clutch and shaft. The second innovation is having switches instead of CAN bus all the way around. Just from a cost standpoint. And belt driving, I mean, how long have we been doing that? Forever. And that seems to be a number one complaint when I talk to some of the competitors' users, is they don't like that little plastic donut that breaks every 500 hours.
So the only problem that you might have with a sweeper like this is with your mechanics team, because they don't have as much job security as they had with being able to fix an auxiliary engine as well as the chassis.
Well, that's true. Hopefully that is a big problem. The other thing is that this is a Kawasaki pump.
Okay.
What does that mean? That means it's made in Japan. No kidding. And it's all steel. It's one of the only all-steel pumps out there. The competitors use aluminum, and there's nothing wrong with aluminum, but we think steel and the reputation of the Kawasaki pump gives us a little longer life.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else we should know about this machine?
You've got the highlights, and you've got the pricing. And we think that stands on its own. Everybody needs to know that there's the 6-liter engines going away sometime this year, and Isuzu will bring out the 6.6-liter. They tell us it's going to have better fuel economy. I don't know how that works, but they say that. And you got to remember, it's a 6.6 liter instead of a 6.0.
Yeah.
So it's not that big a difference. My guess is bore. I don't know what's making the difference. But hopefully we get a little lower end torque, so we can get a little more performance out of the sweeper. So.
One other thing I think some of our listeners might like to know is talk a little bit about the new Victory sweepers and the Roots Multi-Clean organization that's behind this.
Roots India is about a 3,800 employee company that basically got its start making, and has done real well, making horns, electrical starters, alternators. They build everything from electric vehicles to high-pressure casting, aluminum casting. I mean, there's products, we've got products in the works that are going to use some of those resources that we think is going to be pretty exciting. They bought us on December 7th, 2017. And it's not been a challenge, but it's been interesting blending the cultures, because I've made my first trip to India, and I got to tell you, I was blown away with what they can do. They do injection molding, they do high pressure casting, they do gravity casting, they have electrical, they do rotomolding, they basically do all kinds of high, and their quality is, they sell more to Europe than they do to like India. Their quality has to be good to sell to Basho and those kind of folks. So we're excited about what we can do. We just haven't got it all going yet, but we're just getting started. New buildings coming. I don't have a date for everybody yet, but I know the land's been procured and approved, and so we're excited.
And it's a family-run company. It's a family-run company?
It is. That's a very good point. It's a family-run company. Mr. Ramasamy is the chairman. I think it's his dad that actually started it. And then Varun is his son. He's our managing director, and then Soundar is our local managing director. So.
Yeah, it's I looked into this. I remember at the time of the purchase, and it's a very impressive organization. That's for sure.
It is. And I had a blast in India. I mean, these guys not only know how to build stuff, they know how to take care of people. So customer service is very important. One of the reasons this isn't launching until March is because we don't have our 1,000 hours of test on it yet, and we're playing catch up right now. So but they wouldn't let me fudge that, short it, or anything. We had to get our 1,000 hours in, and plus they want to see it in different regions. So we got a lot of work to do by March.
All right, and if somebody wants to know more about your HD or any of the rest of your product line, how do they get hold of Victory Sweepers?
www.victorysweepers.com, or you can dial 256-850-0429.
All right, Mark Schwarze. And how many years have you been in this industry?
Well, I think it is. I'm old enough. I have to think about it. 55 years.
All right.
Sweeping parking lots at 6 years old, building sweepers since I graduated from high school in '77. So
I remember stories about you going out on dates. The women you could date were the ones that would be glad to go with you on your parking lot sweeping route.
Yes,
and I assume you weren't actually driving the sweeper at 6, but knowing your dad, you probably were out there sweeping.
It took me about 2 days to get my hands clean enough for the wedding when I got married, and so that they didn't see paint and undercoating and burn marks and all that. So when they had the close up of the ring shot, if you'll notice, I have my thumb tucked away because I hit it with a grinding wheel and it was all festered. It was so it's just what you do. So.
Yeah, it's sweeping. It's
That's
sweeping.
I love it.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.